All right, question number 2. How would you prioritize Texas projects paid for by federal infrastructure grants?
Federal infrastructure grants, okay, all right. Well, so if we're going to talk about infrastructure, there's a lot that we need to fix here in Texas. I mean, the top 2 things that comes to my mind is our failing power grid, for one. I think that comes to everyone's mind. I probably don't need to tell you much about that because I'm sure that everyone's aware of that. Another one that you might not be aware of as much, particularly around here, is our water grid, which we're also having issues as well. Let me talk about Wichita Falls for a second real quick. I know that's quite far from here, but it's part of my district, and it's an area where they nearly ran out of water. They have massive water scarcity issues up there, and so they're very concerned about the water grid. The problem with water in Texas is not that we necessarily always run out, we just don't always have it at the right places at the right time, and we need to introduce more funding into trying to upgrade our grid so we can transport water across areas to where they need to go. This will also help out our farmers. We also need to increase, I believe, if we could take federal grant money and put it into our infrastructure, I would invest that into aquifers and in water recycling centers, because that will help us out as well. I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with Lake Ringgold. It's a lake that does not exist yet, but it's something that some legislatures have been pushing for. It will help out with our water situation. However, you have to understand the more lakes we create, most of the lakes here in Texas are man-made, by the way, but most of the lakes are very, very shallow. And because they're shallow, the Texas sun comes in and evaporates all that water. So even though it's really cheap to create more and more lakes here in Texas, it's actually not the most efficient way for us. And the more lakes that we create makes us run into these like eminent domain issues where we have to take people's land away in order to create more of these lakes. So I think if we could get these grants, I would introduce that into water recycling centers and aquifers and try to silt water out from other areas where we can.
Very good.